All right, welcome to episode 3 of The Click. Chris Rupp here, your co-host with
Alaina Corsini.
and it is actually week 4 for us. Unfortunately, with everything going on, we had to take a little bit of a hiatus last week, or furlough if you want to call it, for 1 week, but we're back and we have a ton of exciting things to go over. Exciting how you look at it, I guess, but more just really interesting in-depth news with everything that's going on today. So I think it's been about 2 weeks now, and we were face-to-face in our podcast room, and it's pretty wild that we're looking at each other virtually right now, like everybody else in the whole U.S. pretty much is, and it's just a whole new experience trying to get used to this. So bear with us, those listeners and watchers and whatnot, with our audio video quality. We're going to do the best that we can here. How are you holding up over there, Alaina?
I'm good. It's weird, I will admit, but it's a lot different than the podcast suite, but it's cool. It's interesting. And I mean, it's history being made too. So it's kind of cool to be a part of it, and you can weather this storm, then you can weather anything. So
Absolutely. Yep. I think that's so important. And, that everybody just it's such a doomsday right now with any kind of news that you put on. It's just full on, it's so hard not to see and listen to everything that's just doomsday. But, it's so critically important just for everybody's mindset to that, we will get through this. Everybody will get through this. It will be different on the other side. It's not a question of will it be. It will be different on the other side. So it's just, making sure that everybody adapts as quickly as possible so that we can get through this. So without further ado, let's get into some digital marketing headlines for this week. Today is Friday, April 3rd, and we're going to start rolling. So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. So like Chris just said, we're just seeing major disruptions and just major changes in the digital world. And one of those is huge with SEO. We've seen a huge surge in search traffic. Search behavior has totally changed as well. So, and search behavior is a reflection of users' priorities. So it's clear what people are more focused on and are hunkering down for the long haul, as opposed to leisure activities or like traveling or dining out. So the first article that we have is how COVID is specifically affecting search behavior. And larger groceries have seen a huge surge, up to 433%, which I thought was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it.
I mean, quadruple. So that is absolutely insane. Bulk grocery retailers have seen 58% more search. Large good retailers, so like Walmart, big box stores. Online messaging and productivity. So Zoom, anything like that has really seen a big Skype. Like I never thought I'd use Skype again, but here it is, which is crazy. Hotel clients have seen a decrease 43%, theme park clients 55%, and then chain restaurants are 29%. So it's not just small local businesses either that are hurting. It are these big travel and leisure companies as well. So, and looking at Google Trends, which is available, we can put that link as well. It's available to anyone. You literally Google Trends, and you can search the trends, any search traffic, any month, any time. It goes back years. So you can look at it year over year, and it's really important for marketers now to check that out because you're going to see what people are searching for, and you want your website to come up for that. Another article we'll talk about later too is how it's using the term coronavirus and COVID-19. So that's actually going to go into our next article. So this is huge for SEO. When people are finding more information on the novel coronavirus, it's important to use coronavirus and COVID-19.
Why is that?
It's because, so just when you're looking for the search term, so the example they actually use is Bing. Bing has this really great resource, and it's a COVID-19 tracker. So it shows the U.S., shows like what parts are highly contaminated, like which in different levels. It's really, really cool. On Google, if you look up COVID-19 tracker, they're the first website that comes up. You look up coronavirus tracker, they're not even on like the first or second page, which
Wow.
is really crazy because it's a great resource. It's probably one of the best, most reliable resources out there on that. And it updates daily. I'm pretty sure it updates like every couple minutes. But so for that SEO component to not work for them, I just thought was really interesting. And it's really important for healthcare professionals, any organizations that need to market to individuals looking for these resources. It's important to use both words. So I just thought that was really interesting. Something that
It is. That's a good point.
Yeah, a lot of healthcare organizations, when they're trying to get that information out to people, it's important to use both. So we'll definitely continue to do that in like our own resources that we've been providing on the website and stuff.
Right. Yep. That's a good point. And we joked about it, I think in our last episode, about just how, it's gone from coronavirus to COVID-19, and
Oh, I know. Yeah,
depending on who's talking about it, but
exactly. And that's what it said, even more so in the article as well, is that different people use different words. So that also has something to do with it. But just to kind of cover everyone, use both words. So
with the increase of some of these search terms, especially with grocery related, and I think that's eventually gonna come down a little bit. The curve of that increase in search. So like large grocery retailers, I think there's a little bit of a panic there too.
Oh yeah.
Of hey, stock up. And you're seeing that now. I mean, the shelves are empty, and doing any kind of online grocery shopping is, there's limited times available, there's limited stock and whatnot. But I still think we're going to see double digit, if not triple digit increases there for quite a while. So that in itself presents an opportunity for anybody within the grocery, food delivery industry that has the potential to capitalize on what's going on right now and be able to deliver or ship any kind of frozen foods and whatnot. So we've seen an increase of that actually ourselves with a few of our clients that do that, and running out of stock, and others that are just really trying to capitalize on that market right now. Again, trying to think the positive way through this, and not obviously the big declines that we've seen in hotel and travel and hospitality as a whole, but what types of companies are up and coming that have some kind of a food product that they could capitalize on that, and that really seems to be it. People are, obviously, these numbers show that they're searching for it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it's all on desktop too, which I think is really crazy that it's rising. So since people are home, desktop searches have dramatically increased. So for marketers, especially when we traditionally kind of not cater to mobile, but we've seen so many, like, just the data is unbelievable about how much more people are using their phones. Well, now we've kind of seen a pause in that, because now we were catering to mobile devices, and now people are on their computers. And just like, going on grocery, I was looking up a grocery pickup yesterday. I've never done that. I've never picked up groceries, never like done that at all. I was one of those people on Google searching for it, and then did it on my desktop because I didn't want to do grocery. I didn't know there was an app or whatever. But
who'd you do it with?
I was gonna do it with Food Line. I had a friend do it instead, and she sent it to me. I sent her my card information because I was actually on I was online, and I was like, there's just so much food. I was like, here's my list. Just get it for me. I was like, I'll be on here forever.
Right. So. I've actually, real quick on this, and not to get off subject too long, but my wife and I started doing online grocery shopping probably like 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
And really, like, just, I don't know, after having kids and then just being busy and traveling all the time, and we've actually found that we save money by doing it that way,
Yeah,
because you're not walking through the store and be like, oh, this looks good, I'll toss this in the cart or this in the cart. You're
uh-huh.
just like, you don't, you just have pure tunnel vision when you're shopping, from your phone
Yeah,
on the app of like, hey, this is just a necessity of what I need.
yeah, this is just what
Um,
I need.
so I don't know. We've been doing Walmart grocery for the most part. They
Mhm,
actually pulled back their availability on their app. You used to be able to schedule like a week out,
mhm.
um, and pick, your day and time that you wanted to pick up.
Yeah,
And there's such a demand for it. They pulled all that back and they just have today and then the next day available. So if you're not up at 1 a.m. when they release the next day, you're toast as far as trying to grab one of those times available.
mhm. Well, I actually wasn't even able to do it because they didn't have any pickups today or tomorrow. And I needed something for this weekend. So I was like, well, I don't know. So someone actually went to the store for me and got it. But
There you go.
crazy. It was craziness.
Oh,
But just that re-rise of desktop. So just like we were talking, um, I was talking about the grocery. People are back on the computer, so making sure
yeah,
that your website's user friendly on mobile as well, but making sure that it's still good. The customer experience is still good online.
that's right. So moving on, looking at just e-commerce ad spend, I think it's kind of a given that
Mhm.
people would be hopefully doubling down on it, and really that's what the data is telling us. So e-commerce ad spending jumped from 4.8 million the week of February 17th to 9.6 million the week of March 9th. So just about double there.
Yeah.
The data released by media sales intelligence firm Media Radar on Friday encompasses advertising spend across national TV, print and digital media, including websites, Snapchat, YouTube, and podcasts. So really across the board, anyone that was already set up for ecom
Hmm.
are capitalizing on this opportunity. And it's, I don't know how, I mean, I feel like for years, anybody in the digital marketing industry has just been hounding people to create some kind of a e-commerce revenue channel, sales channel for their business of whatever it may be. And I think, the ones that didn't and that were just so, against it or wouldn't take the time to do it over the last several years, they're just, unfortunately, they're just really paying the price right now with this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As well too, I was in a webinar with one of our platforms, and they've actually seen, so with this ad spend double, specifically in OTV and pre-roll, they've seen more inventory. People pull back. Well, we've got so much more inventory available. CPC rates are down, CPAs are down. And then they're also seeing, which I think, so just talking about how you just said doubling down, we've also seen people already create campaigns for coming back after this, which I think is super important as well, that to not pull back that advertising spend, to stay there in that e-commerce. I mean, to be there, people are online. This is going to change search and I mean, behavior after this. People might want to stay online. People might not go into stores as much anymore. So just remaining online, remaining that ad spend prevalent, and getting in there, making sure your campaigns are ready when we come back as well.
So I had this conversation yesterday with somebody about exactly what you just said. When we get through this, what is it going to be like? What things are going to change indefinitely, like from a shopping experience? So, um, I think personally, one that I am drawn to is the automotive side. And we've seen just across the board, automotive, dealership wise, have drastically, obviously production's halted. I mean, essentially the whole world's halted right now, but their production is completely halted. They've pulled staff back, almost completely, very limited on, just on the service side. And their overhead is just gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. I mean, they have huge real estate, huge buildings, hundreds and hundreds of cars on the lot, and tons of people on the sales and biz dev side. It's just, Um, I really think that eventually, I've said this for about a year now, that eventually automotive dealerships are going to go to just a office and
Mm-hmm.
where they have like service available, and then like one model of each car there so that you can show up if you want to and go test drive one in person and see it, touch it, feel it, whatever you want to do to it, and then order from the comfort of your home. Like order exactly what you want with your trim level and all your features and whatnot. Um,
Exactly.
and the whole financing side of it, it's all done from home, just like what we're doing right now, sitting here right here at the computer at your desk, and you're going through that whole process. And the whole time, I mean, people don't like to go to car dealerships in the first place, right? The only reason they go there
Yeah.
is to see the actual car. They don't want to deal with, in general, the people that are there, and they don't want to spend 4 or 5 hours going through a buying process. It's just, it's so painful. I've done it tons of times. It's just insanely painful.
Mhm.
So I think, in one automotive maker that's started doing this right off the bat is Tesla. They've just created individual offices all over the place, and they have one model of one car of each model, sitting out in the parking lot that you can come and test drive and whatnot, and then you just order, and then you show up when it's ready and you pick it up. So
Wow.
with everything that's going on now, I think it would be really, really impressive to see which automotive dealers are going to step up now and just kind of bet on that happening for the long haul and start really downsizing their overhead and going to the model that I just described, and
Yeah.
then delivery too. So, people, while they're essentially quarantined right now and stay at
Mhm.
home orders, they want to be able to just, once this is through, they still kind of want that experience and have, what they've done delivered and put right in their driveway. They don't have to do
Absolutely.
anything. They
I
don't have to
agree.
go and deal with
I agree
anything.
completely. Yeah.
So I think that's just one example that we're going to see of things in industries that are going to change indefinitely to this kind of
Yeah.
virtual buying and just overall sales
Yeah.
model. I think there's several others, but the companies that are going to, just kind of bet on that happening, I really
Mhm.
think are the ones that are going to emerge as leaders
Yeah.
in their industries once we're through with all this.
Exactly. Exactly. And even, I mean, even back to the grocery example we were just using, I've heard that a lot from people saying that they save a lot of money doing that. And I think that because so many people are using it, they're probably going to continue to use it. I don't think yeah, I don't think grocery pickup is going to slow down at all. I think grocery online ordering is going to, maybe not, like we said, the triple digit numbers, but I definitely think it's going to increase. And once this is all over, I still think people are going to be picking up their groceries. So
I do too. So how about, I mean, are you going to be one?
I
Were
don't
you not
know.
one of?
Yeah, I didn't try. I would like to try it probably, I think, but I just, like I said, the pickup times weren't available. And then the way that like someone was just going to the store, they were grabbing it for me. But I'll
Yeah,
definitely try it
yeah,
probably next time I need groceries. But even more, like we were just talking about the whole, I mean, car dealerships, they need to adapt. Grocery stores, they're adapting. They already adapted. And this was just really interesting. And I wanted to just touch briefly on it. Are the 2020 political campaigns. We won't get into politics so much, but more just the aspect of them completely going digital. And it's funny because right before this happened, we were right in the middle. Like that was all anyone was talking about was
oh
political,
sure,
like
yeah,
what was happening in the primary, everything. That's all I talked about. And one of my topics then had been how advertising is in political campaigns, should it, like just to talk about it, discuss it. And then I think it's funny how it's kind of remains one of those topics, but it's not even now can they have advertising, it's everything is online and everything is digital. And
it
they,
has to be.
I mean,
There's no more door knocking, right? There's no
oh
more handshaking.
nope. And that's actually one of the quotes in this Boston Globe article. And it says, gone are the rope lines, selfies with supporters, and entourages of traveling press. They're being replaced for now with tools of the digital world, teletown halls, virtual fundraisers, and live stream speeches from candidates' homes, sometimes with awkward results. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
So
And it's
yeah, I agree. I don't know. Did you happen to catch Biden on Jimmy Fallon a couple nights ago?
No, I
That
didn't.
was just one example, and I mean, of just people trying to do. I think he was in his basement or something, and even watching, I've watched Fallon a couple times the last few weeks, and he's doing everything from home right now, and it's
Oh my
so
God, yeah, his
different.
kids
Like,
all over.
what's that?
His kid, I've seen like a video, and his kid is like all
Oh
over
yeah,
his.
his kids are just all over him, and it's just one goof after another, and it's just the new norm. So you know, not to go down the political road, but I mean for somebody that like Joe Biden, for example, has different gaps and whatnot that you see all the time, and I think it's going to help somebody like that. um,
Exactly.
I don't. There's just I don't know. There's a new norm of like, hey, those things are okay. I was watching CNBC yesterday, and one of the guys on there, his dog was barking in the background, and he's like, sorry guys, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I think there's a level of like expectation of or a level of forgiveness, I should say, of this is everybody understands. It's not just you in a certain
Yeah.
area. We're all in the same boat. But from an advertising marketing perspective with political campaigns, it's going to drastically upend all of this. So I mean, they even moved the Democratic convention. They postponed it. I don't believe they rescheduled it.
Yeah, they
Um,
postponed.
but I did see that they had postponed it. And I don't know what's going to come out of that, of
Yeah.
just the whole process in general. That's going to be really interesting to watch play out. But um, you know, I don't know. I think they have a huge challenge ahead of them to
Mhm.
figure out how to connect with
Mhm.
each voter across America, when you can't be out and about. You can't be holding big rallies and going door to door and handshaking, and you just
Absolutely.
can't do any of that. So, how are you going to connect with so
Mhm.
many people and make a difference that you connect enough to, win their vote?
Yeah. And especially, I mean, that all has to do, I don't want to tie it back to digital marketing, but it all has to do with digital marketing. And hopefully, which they do, these political campaigns have, professionals in place for this. But I can guarantee that that public relations manager was not anticipating having to, do this and be online and
Yeah. Yeah.
conduct a rally, a virtual rally. Like, that is just unheard of.
Yep.
I think it's really important. And we're all in this together, just like you said. Everyone has this like understanding, this forgiveness. So just, monitoring that, analyzing it. So God forbid this ever happens in the future, we know how to handle it.
I think there's going to be some different ways that they're going to figure this out. And Bloomberg did a really good job of, when he was running, there was a time, and it was like one of his last couple weeks before he dropped out. But I swear every single Instagram meme page or anything that's just like remotely funny, or that I follow on Instagram, he got into every one of those channels and was posting, relatively humorous memes. I mean, obviously they were sponsored posts and whatnot. And I thought it was interesting that somebody like that took, of course, he had all the money in the world to do it, but
Yeah,
I thought the tactic was actually ahead of the game a little bit, to go and
absolutely.
do something like that, find influencers, and then just do it on such a mass basis where it was like, I mean, it was like 48 hours where it was nothing but those kinds of posts, from
Yeah.
every one of those. And I don't know. We'll see what the others do, whoever it is, moving forward, and kind of how they approach this whole connecting with people, because that's a I thought that was a great way to do it. I mean, some of that stuff was funny, and it made a connection, whether you support them or not. It was just the tactic and strategy of how they were going about that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that's going to be the difference in political campaigns, but it's going to be the make or break for all these businesses, whether or not you choose to, I don't want to say choose to sink or swim, but whether you choose to weather the storm, get in there, double
Yeah,
down on, face this with as much optimism as possible, and then go from there.
that's right. Well, let's move on to what Facebook is doing here, in terms of keep people safe and updating, keeping everybody informed on coronavirus. They've put up a ton of resources.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know that we talked about this last time, and their ongoing blog page that they have, but even in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, they've added so many more things to, just trying to be a leader in
Mm-hmm.
availability of information and making sure that it's vetted information, telling people where to find it, making it easy to find and just connect with people. So, one of the things, ensuring everyone has access to accurate information and removing harmful content, connecting people through credible information, Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp. They're combating misinformation of COVID-19 across all of their platforms. We talked about that on our last episode of just even a regular individual sharing something. If
Mm-hmm.
it even mentions COVID or Corona, it's going to go through a review process. Um, they've invested $100 million in the news industry and supporting fact checkers, are prohibiting exploitive tactics and ads, and banning ads for face masks, hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes, and even COVID-19 test kits. I think I was interested in just, what is the availability to get a personal at-home test a few days ago. So I was just scouring the web to see what's out there. And they really shut that down sometime last week, of making sure that anybody that's creating tests, I'm just talking about in general, the government shut it down, of not allowing individuals access
Yeah.
to tests unless, they have severe symptoms and go through their doctors and whatnot. And I saw a few posts on eBay that they seemed a little sketchy. I don't know if
Just a little sketchy.
just a little sketchy. I mean, they described what you were buying as a COVID-19 test, and all the details that went with it, and they showed some pictures, and I don't know if they stole it from a test site or what it was, but I certainly was not willing to take the chance and
Was not.
on whatever it was that was going to show up in the mail.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're supporting some of the health and economic relief efforts, matching $20 million in donations, $25 million to support healthcare workers on the front line. We talked in our last episode of they investing $100 million in small businesses, making it easier to support just local business in general. Global health organizations, free ads, and just a ton of new data and tools. So,
They
I don't
also
know.
did one of the things, excuse me, sorry to cut you off. One of the things they also did was they launched a coronavirus community hub. So it's like a place for people to go on Facebook. It's tips and resources to keep people connected to their friends, families, colleagues, community, and prevent the spread of misinformation. So this was on the 26th. And then that same day, so it's kind of similar. It's like all in the digital realm. I thought it was really cool. And it was all the like engagement on Facebook specifically. They also launched Get Digital on the 26th, and this is just kind of similar hub to provide lessons and resources to help young people develop the competencies and skills they need to more safely navigate the internet. So I thought it was really cool, and they're just, adding validity to the fact that this is where people go to look for anything. So
Yeah.
being online is just really important, and I think Facebook is taking great steps to really be a leader at this time. And I read another article too, and it was something about just from a public relations perspective,
Mm-hmm.
from a marketing overall general marketing perspective. Facebook is one of those leaders, and how businesses treat their employees, how they treat their consumers right now is really in the long haul, people are going to remember. So I think it's great. Great efforts, great public relations, marketing tactics by
Yep.
Facebook overall.
So a little bit more detail. They actually posted this late yesterday on. I know so many people are interested in the grants that are available from obviously the stimulus that was passed, but also Facebook and Google, and from a marketing aspect. And we'll talk about Google here next. But one update that Facebook posted yesterday in regards to that $100 million in small business grants was, they said we will get 40 million in the U.S., which will provide grants to 10,000 businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We're working with Eureka, a third-party partner, to distribute these grants starting in 34 locations where our employees live and work. So businesses can go to facebook.com/grants for business to see eligibility criteria. And they're saying applications will open in the U.S. starting next week. So anybody listening, I think we all know how many small businesses are here in the U.S. A lot more than 10,000. So I think that $40 million is going to go rather quick.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So on the Google side, they came out. What day was that last week? It was either
it the 30th, I believe?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember. It was earlier last week, but they came out and announced giving 340 million in ad credits to businesses worldwide. Mm-hmm. We on our digital agency side have been inundated with requests about this. Details about it, when's it happening, and what do you know, how can I take advantage of it, this and that. So our agency, Red Shark Digital, we've got a post out there for the Google ad credits and exactly all the criteria that's involved in it. So some of that is you have to have been an advertiser since it was January 1st, 2019, and remaining active. So there definitely are some caveats in that, and I think that's something important for a lot of businesses out there and agencies dealing with clients. And it's not for everybody. They're not just giving away money to people that have not been spending money with them. So it's a huge gesture. I mean, $340 million, but at the same time, there's some fine print there that people need to pay attention to and make sure they abide by it. So it's funny because so many people have paused their campaigns across the board with digital marketing that very well could disqualify them from getting any of those ad credits because they stopped completely. I don't know that for sure. I've tried to find that information from what Google has put out there so far, but all that they have pretty much said is, from January 1st, 2019, and then through today as an active advertiser. And I think that what they're going to do is they're going to base their credits that they're going to give to each advertiser profile based on some kind of a formula of what they have spent, I think on a monthly average over that time period. So we don't know what it is at this point, and we've not gotten any notifications on all of our advertising campaigns across the board. And you can speak to this better. You're closer to it than I am. We haven't seen any notifications yet today, right?
No. Mm-mm.
So I think, we've told people that as soon as we do, we'll let you know what it is, what is the amount, and then
we also have a list too that we kind of went through ourselves and said, okay, based on this criteria, which accounts are eligible.
Sure.
When that does come through, whether or not, we can cross check it and then kind of just ask questions if clients looking for it, and they kind of should maybe have it, but there might be a week or two, like you said, little caveats there. But we are monitoring that and making sure that those available ad credits do go to the clients that have been with Google active since 2019. So.
Yep, and a good reminder to not just pause things indefinitely.
Yes, that's the perfect example.
Keep some kind of a presence there, and
it doesn't have to be a lot, you don't have to. And what I'm learning, even more so just with paid advertising, I'm learning especially with this research I've been doing, particularly around the coronavirus. There's advertising. Yeah, advertising is such a huge part of digital marketing, and it's a way to get out in front of people that aren't following you on Facebook, and especially during this time, that is really important. But overall, there's other components to digital marketing, and it's also very readily available to lower those ad spends. Yeah, I completely understand, lower those ad spends, but if you have to lower those ad spends, make sure you're up there on SEO, make sure you're in there actively working, make sure you're on social media engaging. So it's just an overall, big thing. But advertising, and I'm really finding as well, doing a little bit further research, like our next article is Yelp has announced funding for local businesses because they've seen a huge decrease in traffic specifically with local restaurants, reviews, stuff like that.
Sure.
And they are offering 25 million in credits, waived fees, and support. So this includes waived advertising fees, free advertising, free access to Yelp page upgrades, 90 days of free access to Yelp reservations, $100 in free search advertising to restaurants with delivery, takeout, and support for local advertisers and other categories that are struggling to pay their bills, which is awesome, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Another organization giving back. But I also think it really adds validity to the power of advertising, paid advertising specifically, where you see Facebook, Google, and Yelp. These are three major platforms that are using their ways of giving back. And I'm sure it's a little bit cheaper for them, but it's still, it's ad space. It's still money giving back, and with them giving it through ad credits, like I said, it just adds validity to them. The need of advertising and that little extra push that paid advertising really does give a lot of local businesses.
Yep, definitely. No, it's great that they're doing that. I mean, any of these platforms that people use, it'll be really interesting to see kind of what the numbers look like from a revenue standpoint on the financials for some of these bigger platforms, Google and Facebook and Yelp and so many others of what are their financial numbers going to look like, when they release them next. So I think they're trying to do, there's an obvious, there's going to be a decline. So it's good to see that they're all trying to step up in some way, shape, or form and offer some credit. So it's just, you got to look at them, you got to take time to research them and figure out exactly what the fine print is. Are you eligible, and how are you eligible, and when are the applications available, and how do you do it? So there's a lot of time that has to be spent on just the research side of figuring all of those things out, like the help side of it. There's really not like this huge central hub for all of these different.
We're trying.
I know. No, of course. And that's part of our efforts, but like I guess like an overall stimulus hub for, government stimulus and from an advertising and marketing standpoint and locally and maybe I just came up with our $1 billion idea.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I just told everybody about it. So,
gotta get working on it quick.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, what's going on in our own backyard of Greenville, North Carolina.
So just to hone in on that, these businesses helping each other, these are huge major platforms, but also you're seeing it in Greenville. So we are based out of Greenville, North Carolina, and they recently launched a We Believe in Greenville campaign. And it's predominantly local restaurants and cafes to really keep them intact during the crisis. So making sure that they don't completely obliterate during this, which is awesome. I think it's really great. It's all organizations and local restaurants that offer takeout and delivery, so they're still operating during these times. And I just think it's just one example. And they've made t-shirts. They're all over Facebook. And it's not like a specific campaign or anything to raise money for them. But they've also made a frame on Facebook. So this is just another aspect. They're not doing any paid advertising. It's predominantly just to help the local restaurants. It's all to help each other. But they're doing it and they're engaging well. I think they're really great on social platforms. It's just another example of how businesses are really striving to help each other. And if we continue to do this, then we're going to come out. We're all going to come out. We're going to come out of this. I guarantee it.
That we are.
Just well and better and feeling a little bit more optimistic during it. And even our own efforts. We've been offering our podcast suite for a discounted rate just for people to get out there. So if they're not online, first of all, get online. And then if they are already, to make sure that you have a video or you have a web page out there that says something about coronavirus. And I think a video is just an excellent way as well from a public relations standpoint, because you see an image, you see a person associated with that business. And especially when it's local businesses, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
As well. We also are offering website, like quick kind of website designs for as little as $1,000, which is crazy for a website. So I just think offering those little things, and I mean, I know we can't do a lot. We're all working from home and stuff, but I just think any business, ourselves included, just doing these little initiatives to try to help our fellow small local businesses. I just think it's great, and that's the only way we're going to come out.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. So, I mean, there's been very, very, very few businesses that have not stepped up in some kind of a
Oh,
way, some kind of an offer, and just to help locally. So, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we've all got to cover our costs one way or another. Some are able, the ones a little bit more flexible are able to, not even worry about the cost of what it is that they're offering, or they've come down and it's just an incentive, or discount on it. So whatever it is, I mean, I just think it's important that people remember anything is a gesture right now of generosity, because everybody's situation, every company, small business is in a different situation, and any of them coming out and offering whatever it is, I think just goes a long way to show that, they care, they want to be here, they care about their community, they want to make it through this. They've not just folded and
yeah,
said,
and want to
I'm
help other
done.
businesses. Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
Mhm.
exactly.
And that's what
Exactly.
I think something really I've like even just reached out to people, just especially with us, we have an opportunity to really help others, small local businesses in any way we can. So I think it's great. I think these services, just like I said before, just offering something, getting people in the digital space is going to be vital right now. It's going to be make or break for some businesses. So getting online, I think is just one of my biggest tips.
Yep, definitely. All right. So with I think everybody's had a little bit of more availability or downtime. I hate to even say downtime in some roles, but they've been busier than others. But a lot of companies out there are taking advantage of, part again, back on what they're doing to give back. They're opening up their e-learning resources that are typically paid subscriptions, and they're offering them at a discount. So I thought that was cool. Have you seen any of those? Have you taken advantage of
Oh
anything?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I actually have used the LinkedIn one because they've removed purchasing from any of their video training courses. So those ones, I just think those are really interesting. I've always been really big on like company culture, and just how that builds a great business. So those are really interesting, particular to me. And then also Stack It Up, Simplify, those a few of those training courses, and then Moz. Like we talked about, I'm specifically in paid advertising. That's where my forte is. So learning a little bit more about SEO is just overall beneficial. Just how
Yeah.
what we talked about, and they work hand in hand. So just knowing more information, knowing how to use that platform. Overall, it's just a few things, and they're quick. They're like not too hard. They're pretty. I don't want to say layperson, but like anyone can understand them. And I think they're great opportunities. They're great tools, resources. I mean, people typically pay for
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
So the fact that they're available online, take this time, double down, just like we've kind of reiterated, double down, use this time to take these courses and do what it's telling you to do, benefit your marketing greatly.
Something to add on that is conferences are huge in our industry, right?
Oh
I mean, they're just there's never a shortage of conferences,
yeah.
um, to attend and learn new things and whatnot. Um, but obviously, when we talked about this offline, I mean, they've all been canceled. There's no mass gatherings anywhere of anything, for the really the foreseeable future. So, and those are huge revenue generators for a lot of these companies that put them on. I mean, they make a killing on those. So I've started to get a lot of emails about virtual summits and virtual conferences.
Mhm.
Um, and one of them, I actually just got this one last night from Search Engine Journal. They're doing an e-summit digital conference, and that is going to take place on Tuesday, June 2nd. And they've got speakers from Search Engine Journal, RankSense, Path Interactive. They've got an SEO consultant. They've got all kinds that are going to be in there. This one doesn't particularly tell me if it's free or not. Most of the other ones that I've been getting have been free. I sent one out to our team the other day that took place yesterday, AWAI Summit. But anyways, there's been several out there right now that they're offering these virtual conferences. Most of them have been free from what I've seen so far. So I think point is, and the take home with this is, capitalize on this. This is an opportunity to, that your downtime that you have, take advantage of some of these free learning resources that you typically wouldn't have time to do, or the money to go to, or the time to go to and travel and go to it in person. And guess what? You can do it right here, just like you and I are doing with this right now. So I just think it's another great opportunity for people to just take advantage of it, learn, and see what you can come out with new and better on the other side.
And I've done a lot, not so much conferences. I've done a lot of webinars currently, and a lot of them, the ones that are coming out right now, they are specifically geared towards combating this coronavirus disruption. They're combating on coming out good and better and being a better business on the other side. So definitely just using this time. The resources are there. Just look them up. A lot of webinars, if they're not available during, you can watch them after. So just getting in there, just like you said, learning, coming out better at the end of this.
That's right. Well, I think that's all we have for you today, folks. There is just a constant stream of new information coming out that's just funneling nonstop right now. So we will keep you updated. I am Chris Rupp with Alaina Corsini, my co-host, and this was Click. We will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.